If you've ever noticed that you read your messages before sending them, then reread them again, and still feel unsure, or you replay conversations in your head hours later, thinking about what you should have said differently, it doesn't look like a big deal, but it says more than you think, because overthinking isn't just thinking too much, it's trying to feel safe in a world that once made you feel uncertain. You don't just overthink big decisions, you overthink small things. A text that sounds off, a slight change in someone's tone, a pause that feels longer than usual. Your mind starts filling in the gaps. What did they mean? Did I say something wrong? Are they upset with me? And before you realize it, you're not just thinking, you're analyzing, predicting, preparing. Not because you want to, but because something in you feels like it has to. Because somewhere along the way, your brain learned that missing something small could cost something big. So now, it doesn't miss anything. A lot of people think overthinking is about anxiety, but it often runs deeper than that. It's about control. Not control in a loud, obvious way, but quiet control. The kind that tries to predict outcomes before they happen. The kind that mentally rehearses conversations. The kind that scans for problems before they exist. Because uncertainty doesn't feel neutral to you, it feels dangerous. So your mind tries to stay one step ahead. Not to win, but to avoid losing something. Approval, connection, stability. And that's why your thoughts don't stop. They're not random, they're protective. If you look closely, overthinking often shows up in moments that involve people. You hesitate before replying. You soften your words so they won't be misunderstood. You stay quiet instead of saying what you really feel. Not because you don't have opinions, but because you're already thinking about how they'll land, how they'll be perceived, how they might change how someone sees you. And that constant awareness slowly turns into self-monitoring. You start watching yourself from the outside, editing, adjusting, filtering, trying to become someone who won't be rejected, but in the process, you lose the ease of just being. And here's where it gets interesting. Overthinking isn't always about fear of the future. Sometimes, it's about the past still living in the present, because at some point being misunderstood, or judged, or dismissed wasn't just uncomfortable, it mattered. Maybe it affected how you were treated. Maybe it changed how safe you felt expressing yourself. So your mind adapted. It became careful, observant, strategic. It learned to think before speaking, to anticipate reactions, to avoid emotional risk. And now, even when the situation is different, your mind still runs the same pattern, not because it's broken, but because it remembers. That's why overthinking can feel so hard to stop, because it doesn't feel like a habit. It feels like responsibility, like if you don't think things through, something will go wrong, like you'll miss something important, or say the wrong thing, or lose control of how things turn out. So even when you're exhausted, your mind keeps going, looping, replaying, trying to get it right. Even when there is no perfect version, there's also something else happening underneath. Overthinking gives the illusion of clarity. It feels like you're solving something, understanding something, getting closer to certainty. But most of the time, you're just circling the same thoughts from different angles, because the goal isn't really clarity, it's reassurance. It's trying to feel okay before anything actually happens, and the problem is, that feeling doesn't last, so the thinking continues. Over time, this pattern starts shaping your identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who is just like this, someone who thinks too much, feels too deeply, struggles to switch off. But what often gets missed is this. You didn't randomly become this way. You adapted into it. You became someone who notices details, who reads between lines, who tries to understand people deeply. And while that comes with overthinking, it also comes from the same place. Awareness, sensitivity, the need to feel safe in connection. That's not weakness. That's protection that stayed active for too long. And the strange part is, even when things are okay, your mind can still look for what's not. Not because you're negative, But because you're used to preparing, you're used to scanning, you're used to staying mentally alert, even in calm moments, because calm once didn't always stay calm. So now you don't fully trust it. When you step back and look at it as a whole, overthinking isn't just about thoughts. It's a pattern of trying to manage uncertainty by staying mentally involved at all times. It's your mind trying to create predictability in situations that don't come with guarantees, and it shows up quietly, in hesitation, in replaying, in second guessing yourself. Not because you lack confidence, but because your brain learned that being careful mattered. And once you start seeing it this way, it stops looking random. It starts looking familiar, recognizable, like something that has been running in the background for a long time, shaping how you respond, how you communicate, how you experience even simple moments. And that awareness doesn't suddenly stop the overthinking, but it changes how you understand it. It's no longer just something you can't control. It's a pattern that made sense at some point.